Environmental stewardship is the safeguarding of human health and the environment to sustain or improve the quality of life for ourselves and future generations. America's potato growers practice environmental stewardship in growing safe, high-quality food. It's a tradition they're proud of, committed to, and continually improving upon. This year, the National Potato Council recognizes two families for their outstanding stewardship of the natural resources entrusted to them. An important part of their resource management is reducing pesticide risk. They use integrated pest management and other tools and strategies that ensure crop protection chemicals are used judiciously and effectively. They practice water and soil conservation to sustain or enhance the resources essential to our food supply. They also provide habitat for the wildlife that share our world. The National Potato Council's Environmental Stewardship Award for 2007 is given to Amstad Farms, Tony and Deanne Amstad of Hermiston, Oregon, and to Kehler Ranches, Rod Kehler of Center, Colorado. Tony Amstad started farming almost 50 years ago with help from his parents. Today he farms in two areas of the state. The main farm is in a desert area near the Columbia River. He grows potatoes on 2,200 acres of the farm and has wheat, corn, and alfalfa.
We normally will plant wheat following potatoes. We don't take the straw off. We incorporate the straw into the ground to build up humus, to keep our humus up. Then the following year we may go in with probably corn and then work the fodder of the corn back into the ground and be ready for potatoes 2 years after that.
Because the farm is in a windy desert area, conservation tillage is very important.
We try to do as least tillage as possible. We're in an area where we do get wind and we have sandy soils and we're subject to heavy blows. We try to keep as much organic matter on top of the ground as possible.
Cover crops to hold the soil include mustard, which acts as a biological fumigation for nematodes. Potato fields are scouted at least twice a week for harmful insects to determine if a pesticide application is necessary. Initially, sprays may be used only to border the fields. Steps are taken to guard against pesticide resistance.
Like Colorado potato beetle, if some years it's worse than others, we will change our chemistry each time that we spray. We won't use the same chemistry each time, like 2 or 3 times in a row. That's what we try to do and has worked out very favorable.
Pesticide containers are triple rinsed and stored until a shredder comes for pickup. Irrigation water comes from a reservoir or the Columbia River. The pumping station on the river has fish screens in place to protect the salmon population.
All of our low pressure pivots so that we conserve water. We monitor our water daily. Sometimes you got a couple, 3 different soil types on the farm possibly.
Water retention ponds filter runoff before it goes into the streams. Buffer zones around fields prevent fertilizers and chemicals from getting in the waterways. Wheatgrass is planted in the corners of the fields for birds.
At the right timing of the year, we'll flail it down so it cleans it up, weed-free. And also, we have an area where we actually put in millet and corn for ducks.
Rod Kehler's farm is located in the center of the San Luis Valley of Colorado. The farm was started in the 1930s by his grandfather. Over the years, the family grazed sheep, fed cattle, and, of course, grew potatoes.
In fact, that picture of myself and my granddad, we used to have Indian people come up here from New Mexico and Arizona, and they would sack the potatoes for us. And then we would stack those sacks in the cellars that we had then. And I can remember my dad trying to get air to move through the potatoes and putting fans in and experimenting, trying to get a better crop and something better to sell.
In 2003, the family had a life-changing event when son Joshua was diagnosed with non-Hodgkin's Burkitt lymphoma while away at school. He's healthy now, but the cancer caused the Kehlers to focus even more on reducing possible health risks.
Believe me, after an experience like that, there's no sacred cows anymore. You begin to look at everything differently. And we started doing different things on the farm here. He came back to work with me, and it's really been enjoyable. We use less chemicals than we did, and I'm not saying that chemicals are bad, because I still use them and I believe in them. I mean, we have the safest food in the world. It's just that on our farm we're doing things a little differently.
One of the things he does differently is use compost and compost teas in place of traditional fungicides for disease prevention. Compost increases the soil microbial population in favor of beneficial organisms.
I can remember when, years ago, we'd go out and dig potatoes, and we'd always dig earthworms. And then they kind of disappeared, it seemed like, for a few years, within the last 10. And now we're digging earthworms again. So, I know we're building the soil back and helping it out.
Rod grows a little more than 400 acres of potatoes and rotates them with barley, wheat, canola, mustard, and radish. He uses a combination of beneficial insects and low levels of pesticides to produce a quality crop.
We have a problem with armyworms. But like I say, if we have that, you have to use some kind of an insecticide. And if you use a very low rate, then it'll kill those worms when they're small. And it doesn't bother your beneficials.
Rod's irrigation system saves energy by using surface water directly from the Rio Grande River instead of pumping water from an underground aquifer. All fields on the farm are minimally tilled and left with ridges to prevent wind erosion. Deer, elk, antelope, and waterfowl are seen on the farm at various times.
I've seen 4- and 6-point bull elk, from maybe 100 feet away, walking through the valley. And it's pretty amazing. It's a big crossway from one mountain range to the other, and animals still come in here. And there's a lot of food for them, so it's good.
To Rod, environmental stewardship is not just a concept. It's something to be practiced daily.
I think it goes hand in hand with farming, and environmental stewardship to me is taking care of the land to the best of your ability and trying to give back to that what it's given to you.
The National Potato Council Environmental Stewardship Award is presented by the National Potato Council with the support of the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency. Congratulations to this year's winner.